Belated, I'd like to call to order the Senate Finance Committee. If you'd open the rolls, please, sir. Please note your presence. Thank you very much, sir. We've got a number of bills to take up today, and it would not shock anybody. I haven't communicated as well with staff as I should, but we have a number of bills that are similar to bills that were reported out of the Senate. I see House Bill 1695, Delegate Delaney's identical to Senator Vogel's 1257. I see that House Bill 2776, which is a revenue bill by Delegate Gilbert, who will not be here, is identical to Senator Obenchain's bill. I see that House Bill 2150, Delegate Ingram's bill, is identical to Senator Dance's bill. I see that House Bill 2356 is identical to Senator Ruff and Saslaw's bill. I see that House Bill 2357, Delegate Jones, is identical to Senator Hanger's bill. House Bill 2360, Delegate Jones' bill, is identical to Senator Hanger's bill. House Bill 2279 is identical to Senator Chafin's bill. And all those bills are identical. And for expediency, if someone would move that we can report those bills in a block. It's been moved and seconded that all of those bills be reported in a block, and that's 1659, 2776, 2150, 2356, 2357, 2360, 2279. Is there any discussion, and does any delegate feel compelled that they want to share some of their eloquence with us? Or are you happy if we report them out in the block? Seeing no dissent, it's been moved and seconded that those bills be reported in the block as they are all identical to Senate bills. If you would open the roll, please. Ayes 12, no zero. Ayes 12, no zero. Those bills are reported in the block, and we thank the delegates for replicating and emulating the senator's bills. They've done very well.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a late referral in front of us today. House Bill 2718, Delegate Landis's bill, Interstate 81 Corridor bill, which is identical to Senator Obenchain's bill, I believe.
Chairman, it's not identical, but I would move that we conform it.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to talk about this a little bit.
Be happy to.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 2718 be conformed to the Senate bill and reported.
Okay. Questions?
Yes, sir. Senator Hanger.
Senator Obenchain, in conforming, does that add the 10 cent per gallon tax increase on fuel?
It adds a truck-only toll.
Yeah.
I will let it go.
A little bit of humor is a good thing, because it seems to be lacking around here, and that's why we need a few clowns.
Thank you.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that Delegate Landis's bill 2718 be conformed to Senator Obenchain's bill. Are you all right with that? Okay. If you'd open the roll, sir. Ayes 12, no zero. Ayes 12, no zero. That House Bill 2718 is conformed as reported, and thank you, Senator Hanger, for bringing it to attention.
Mr. Chairman, House Bill 2656 needs to be referred to General Government. Delegate Collins' bill. I would so move.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill...
General laws, rather.
General laws, yes, sir. House Bill 2656 be referred to general laws. Is there any discussion? Is Delegate Collins here? Oh, there you are.
He's in committee, but I can get him over here in 5 minutes.
Don't need him.
No, not necessary. Okay.
All right, well, let's temporarily pass that by, Senator.
It's just technical. It needs to be there. No physical impact.
Okay. All right, well, let's do that. It's been moved and seconded, 2656 be referred to general laws. If you open the roll on that, sir. Ayes 12-0, that bill is re-referred. Anything else in the area of expediency?
Don't believe so.
All right, we've got some similar bills, but I'm going to go down the sign-up list. And Delegate Bloxham, you were first, sir. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm fine. House Bill 1722 is, you've seen this bill, it's the Wayfair bill, internet sales tax, and I do have a substitute.
All right, Senator Hanger moves and Senator Howell seconds that the substitute be adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. And just in the matter of expediency, perhaps if you could suggest to us how that bill either conforms or differs from Senator Ruff's bill.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It's actually the Senate version that you passed with 3 amendments. If you go to page 20, line 509.
25.
We have different amendments to try to, I'm not going to say carve out, but hold harmless the banks, some Uber Eats. There's different entities that through the marketplace could get caught in double taxation. So we've worked hard. We've got Bank of America, or we got the bank amendment on 509. We have Arbit's Eats on line 551. And then there's an eBay waiver. You might have talked about this in the Senate. It's a delay enactment of.
How long is that?
It's 90 days. Up to 90 days.
90
Yes, sir.
days.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference in the 2 bills that were passed.
How do you feel about a 9-month delay for it?
In the negotiations, I think we felt like we needed to take it. I myself have to collect tax every day, so I don't have much sympathy for anyone that wants to delay an enactment of collecting tax and sending it in. But in the negotiations, we kind of had to accept some of that.
And because I'm out of the loop, which senators were you negotiating with?
Senator Ruff and myself.
Senator Ruff, you good with this or not?
Up to this point, yes. Mr.
That
Chairman,
is-
this is a moving target, trying to make sure everybody is happy and satisfied and on the same page with so many national companies involved that have their own legal staff. There are a lot of people looking at it and making sure it doesn't harm them.
But the beauty of it is that we're the final decision makers.
Exactly right. And it may be a substitute on the floor somewhere.
Oh, it could end up in conference, you never know.
Yes, sir, and we're actually trying to move the 2 bills alike. There's actually one amendment too, if you accept the substitute. I have an amendment that for Google has come in at a minute. So I need to make sure that the substitute's
So
agreed to.
you have an amendment to the substitute, amendment in the nature of the substitute?
I have an amendment to the substitute, if that's agreed to.
We have the substitute before us. Do you have an amendment you want to offer on that?
Yes,
From Goggle?
from Google, yes, sir.
Okay. Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, the additional amendment for Google would be on line 511 of the substitute. At the end of that paragraph, add marketplace facilitator does not include a platform or forum that exclusively provides internet advertising services, including any advertisements which may list products for sale, so long as the internet advertising service platform or forum does not also engage directly or indirectly through one or more affiliated persons in the activities described in subsection C.
At least I ain't very smart. What does that mean in country boy language?
I think what this is striving to do is to ensure that if you are on a platform like Google and you see a pop-up ad for LL Bean, for example, and you click through on that ad and purchase something from LL Bean, that's not making Google a facilitator.
Right, yes, sir.
So everybody wants a carve out in some fashion.
Well, this actually, I mean, what we're trying to do is to make sure that the person that's actually selling the product is who charges the tax, collects the tax, and remits the tax. And we're trying to keep it from having double taxation through the facilitator. And with Google's, I didn't see that they had an issue anyway, but they felt more comfortable with this because all you're doing is passing through them to get to a website. But I understand their concerns, so that's why
Okay.
I asked it for the
Any
amendment.
member of the committee have any questions about this amendment of the nature substitute as the amendment is proposed? Does someone want to move the amendment?
So move.
Been moved and seconded that the Goggle Amendment be adopted. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And that amendment is adopted. Is there anyone who feels compelled to share their insight on Delegate Bloxham's bill? We're reasonably familiar with it. Our learned counsel, who is the attorney that we trust the most, has a technical amendment.
Mr. Chairman, on the substitute, on line 553, after all of its marketplace sellers, insert physically located in the Commonwealth.
Senator Newman moves and Senator Sasslaw seconds the amendment that was proposed by Lisa. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting that amendment to the amendment in the nature of the substitute signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, and that amendment is adopted. Does anyone else have any
Mr.
tweaks,
Chairman,
carve-outs, obfuscations they want to offer? Yes, Senator Howell.
just a question.
Yes, ma'am.
As I remember the bill, when it left the Senate, there was a 90-day period, and you have increased it to how much?
No, ma'am, it's the same. It's still the
It's
90
still
days.
90,
But
okay.
I don't think our two bills weren't the same. When we looked at it in House Finance, we actually picked up the Senate bill and made sure that they were the same. So
Okay, thank you.
Senator Howell, I'm confident we'll have some discussion about that going forward. Any other questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the amendment in the nature of the substitute as amended by Delegate Bloxham and amended by council is before you. Been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Is there any further discussion? If not, sir, if you would be so kind to open the rolls.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Bloxham, we appreciate it. 14-0, the bill is reported. Next, Delegate Byram, you are next. So nice to see you.
Good to see you, too. I have two bills. House Bill 2539. Okay, this bill deals with the worker retraining tax credit. Just right off the front, it retains the existing cap of 1 million in credit. There's no fiscal no fiscal impact on this. What it basically does is sunset the worker retraining tax credit and creates a new name, the Worker Training Tax Credit Program. The other one was losing its effectiveness, and what this does is better reflect the importance of upskilling incumbent workers and initial first-time training that may be required upon hire. It tiers the credit to incentivize and reward employers who invest in skills training for non-highly compensated workers or workers earning less than the state median wage. The employer may claim a credit of up to 35% of the expenses incurred, up to $500 for eligible workers, and $1,000 for non-highly compensated workers. Creates more flexibility, aligns the eligible training programs to the state's eligible training provider list. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak either for or against this bill? Dr. Byron, when looking at it, while she's coming, one of the policies that we've adopted here in the Senate is try to keep all these sunset dates the same. And so we were looking at proposing a sunset date of 2022 rather than 2024, just to keep in conformity with that. Would you have any problem with that?
No, just have to come
Okay.
back again.
Chair would entertain an amendment to,
So move.
motion properly supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Great. Good morning. I'm Megan Healy, Chief Workforce Advisor to the Governor. We're really excited to work with Delegate Byron on this bill. We definitely need a level of increase in training, especially in our current workforce, the people working. So this gives employers a great opportunity to continue to retrain everyone, especially with technology disruptions.
So are you excited or really excited?
I'm really excited.
Okay.
I think especially because of the lower the income, the better the tax credit. And again, we have to raise all boats, so it's really exciting.
All right, anybody else that wants to be heard?
Move the bill be reported as amended.
Second's been moved and seconded that House Bill 2539 as amended be reported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you'd open the rolls, please. Delegate Byron, unanimous vote out of here.
It's wonderful.
Remember that.
I will remember
do.
that. I have another one coming up too. Maybe we
Don't press your luck this morning.
2 for 1.
How about 2540? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. House Bill 2540 brings a new approach to an issue that's been around for the last several years. As a senior House finance member, I know that we have also looked at a lot of bills that were looking at an issue of removing the sales tax on personal hygiene products for women. And in fact, I think you sent a bill over to us that does that.
Yeah, let me interrupt you. It's similar to Senator Boysko's Bill 1715. What, do you know what yours does at that one?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's different about this. I took an entirely different approach that met with a lot of approval on our side. Spent a lot of time looking over the summer at the issue because I had people that came to me and said, you know, why aren't we doing this more equitable and fair, you know, to apply to a lot of people. The issue was personal hygiene and situations where, of course, you had no control over your functions that would require this to be an essential product. So what my bill does is instead of a complete sales tax exemption, it creates a category under the food tax that gives a reduced food tax for essential hygiene products, and it includes products on the list that are used by men, products used by women, young and old, and creates a reduced sales tax rate that would apply to diapers, incontinence products, products for babies, and products for women. And it ended up not having an impact on localities by doing so because the 1% on the food sales, reduced food sales tax would not affect localities in the process. It still recognizes a need for a reduced rate for those products. And it actually, I think, came out with a less impact than the former bill did, applying to just the one product. So
Okay. You're an excellent advocate. Let's see if any member of the committee has any questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hanger.
Thank you. It does have budget implications that weren't included in the Senate budget, so I think if, you know, it has merit, but we need to attach the clause, so I would move that we attach financial contingency clause.
Okay, hold that just a minute if you don't mind, please, sir. Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone who is in opposition to the bill? If not, Senator Hanger, thank
I
you.
move the clause, please.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 2540 have the Finance Committee a contingency clause attached because it does have a revenue impact. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all those opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, 2540 as amended is before you. It's been moved and seconded that 2540 as amended be reported. Hearing no discussion, if you'd please open the roll. You're batting 1,000 this morning.
that would be great.
Tell
Thank
your
you.
colleagues how gracious we are, okay?
I am so excited. I hope you have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you very much. Delegate Hodges, you are next, sir.
Sir, good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, sir.
You have before you House Bill 2482.
2486, ladies and gentlemen.
82, Mr. Chairman.
2482,
Yes,
excuse
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
That is a revenue bill. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now, this bill addresses an unintended consequence whereby if the Commonwealth or a political subdivision operates a business, or if they contract with a third-party vendor to operate a business on donated land where that donor has actually accessed land preservation credits. So if there's an intent to profit by either the Commonwealth or that third party, it's not clear either with the tax department or the AG's office if someone can pursue this and have a clawback from the actual donor who donated that land. So I actually contacted the tax department and the AG's office, and neither were clear, and we thought we'd put this bill in to clarify that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Hodges. Any member of the committee have any questions? If not, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of the bill? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the bill? A lot of agnostics here this
Yes,
morning.
sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, House Bill 2482 is before you. Okay. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that Senate Bill 2482 be reported. If you would open the rolls, please, sir. As 13, no zero. Another House bill passes unanimously.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chairman Ware, I see you over there, and then I'll take Vice Chairman Landis next. I apologize. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Thank you. I have an agency bill from the Department of Mines, Mineral Energy. It is a bill to increase over 4 years the permit fees for oversight of these. It's, as I say, 4 years, $2 each year to reflect the actual cost of processing the applications. It doesn't affect coal mining, for those of you who might have that interest, and the principal stakeholder, the Virginia Transportation Construction Alliance, has worked with DMME on this bill. There is no known opposition except my good friend, the gentleman from Campbell, who is seated on the front row. But other than that, there's no opposition.
Are there a lot of mines in your district?
In my district? Historically, there have been several, yes, yes.
All right. Any member of the committee have any questions of Delegate Ware regarding 1932? Any member of the audience who wants to speak ever so briefly in support? Anyone who has a timidity to speak in opposition to the bill? If not, ladies and Matt, it's going to be a long wait for you, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 1932 is before you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1932 be reported. If you would open the roll, please, sir. Ayes 14, no zero. Another House bill reported unanimously.
You're all most congenial this morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
Delegate Landis, thank you very much for waiting, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have a House Bill 1611, I believe is very similar to legislation you carried regarding the Virginia College Savings Plan, setting the pricing reserve at 105% and then allowing the board to then, if needed, not to have it exceed 10%, so it'd be 110%. I believe this is very similar to your legislation. I'm not sure what the differences are, but
I'm not sure either, but I am certain about whose approach is superior.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Hanger.
I would move that we conform it to the Senate bill so y'all can talk about it later.
It's been moved and seconded. Do you have any problem with that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1611 be conformed to the Senate version of the bill so that Delegate Landis and I amicably can reconcile it, which we will. Any discussion? If not, open the roll, please, sir. Ayes 14, no zero. Thank you very much for presenting that bill.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one I have is House Bill 2306 that, again, is very similar to Senator Hanger's Senate Bill 1483, dealing with the issue regarding our lettuce and EES programs and the referral process. Mr. Chairman, I think the only difference is there were some technical amendments I think that Senator Hanger and I had agreed to, but then the House Health, Welfare, and Institutions Committee determined that the committee that we talked to, the steering committee on ESO, would only meet 4 times. Other than that, I think they're pretty much the same.
Senator Hanger?
Yes, Delegate Landis and I have worked on this. It's been a moving target. So at this moment, if we adopt that amendment, we're we're together then? Is that what it is?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that the other technical amendments, other than the 4 times a year, I think you have adopted those
Right.
other technical amendments, but the only other amendment is what HWI put, and just the committee would only meet only 4 times a year.
And
I
that
don't-
currently isn't on your bill?
That is currently on my bill, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I'm fine with that. If y'all can fix mine over there. Yeah.
I'm sure HWI will do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments? Anybody in the audience who wants to speak in favor of the bill?
Okay.
Anyone who wants to speak against the bill? Lisa or April, do you have some technical amendments?
You had these technical amendments
I think so.
from Sarah? Okay. Mr. Chairman, on line 43, after process, strike the remainder of line 43, 44, and through department on line 45, and insert to refer individuals to employment services organizations for services described in subsections B and C. On line 47, after 2, strike and. On line 48, after services, strike organization and insert organizations. And on line 48, after that, strike provides and insert provide.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that the amendments as reported be adopted. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting those amendments to 2306, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, and those amendments are adopted. Anything else, Delegate Landis?
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to seeing you this week.
I'm excited. Is there a motion to report 2306?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that 2306 as amended be reported. If you would open the rolls, please. Ayes 14, no zero. Thank you for being with us, sir. Donica, you have 2339, I believe. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you very kindly. So the bill I have today is an agency bill on behalf of the Department of Social Services. And I've got some folks today, both from Social Services and Department of Taxation, here to answer any questions if you are so inclined. And so, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, HB 2339 authorizes the Department of Taxation to provide tax information to the Division of Child Support Enforcement in the Department of Social Services. 1 in 5 children in Virginia is involved in a child support case. So local social services departments face challenges when investigating allegations of public assistance fraud, where certain types of income, such as self-employment income, have been used to determine eligibility. Economic realities are also changing, and parents are increasingly choosing to work as freelancers. So the Division of Benefit Programs needs access to 1099 information to assist in the investigation of such cases. With this information, the Division of Child Support Enforcement will be able to help establish and modify child support orders, combat welfare fraud, and collect child support for Virginia's families. And as well, they'll be able to do more outreach regarding earned income tax credit.
Let me ask you, there was another bill floating around that was similar in concept, but it was allowing distribution to like pretrial services. This
I
does-
think that was Senator Surville's
But this
bill. I
doesn't
could
allow
be
this.
wrong, but this one is a completely different bill.
Well, then I expect some real affection for the bill on this. Any member of the committee have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, just a comment, I suppose. The, last year, we dealt with data sharing a bit, encouraging agencies to share data, take down silos to better affect results, and I think this is a good example of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone that feels compelled to speak in favor of this good bill, 2339? And yes, sir.
Chairman, members of the committee, Craig Bersham, I'm the Deputy Commissioner for State Programs for the department. We've been working with tax for over 2 years on this bill and ask you to please pass it.
Thank you for being with us, sir.
Mr.
Anyone who has a different opinion?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator McDougal.
Could we hear from tax, as I'm reading this, it says, as may be necessary. So that seems pretty open-ended. So I want to know what they think may be necessary means.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Senator McDougal, Kristen Collins from the Department of Taxation. The issue so far has been that the Department of Social Services has, that the limitation in current law is so narrow. The Department of Social Services has requested additional information that we can't provide because it's so narrow. So this would allow us, we have an agreement, an existing agreement with them, that would allow us to expand our agreement as to what we would share with them.
Mr. Chairman.
So are you good or bad with this bill?
We are good with it.
You're good with that. Senator McDougal.
I guess my question is, that's great that they're good with it, but I want to know what information they're sharing. And this seems to, if it was very narrow, this seems to be the floodgate open. You could share any information. So why wouldn't we want to say what specific information should be shared?
Mr. Chairman, we would be fine with either. Social services may be better to explain specifically what they're requesting.
What, Mr. Chairman?
Senator McDougal.
Well, I guess, what have y'all tacitly agreed to share if this were to pass?
Senator McDougal, so there's a few things. So one of these things is to investigate welfare fraud. So on the welfare fraud, oftentimes they're going to want to see the tax return, the whole tax return, because they need to submit that into evidence, my understanding is, with the district attorney to prove the welfare fraud, that there is this income. On the child support side, there's a couple things we want. One would be 1099 information, particularly for those that are independent contractors, those that are in the gig economy now. We have no way to find out about that income. Also, there would be the employer's address so that we could do a wage withholding on those folks, is other information we need. And I will say that we already have, all of our staff are designated as sensitive employees, so they're subject to fingerprinting and criminal background checks. In addition, all of our employees deal with federal tax information. We make it very clear that any unauthorized disclosure of that tax information could result in a $5,000 penalty or 5 years in prison.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator McDougal.
If those are the things, why wouldn't we limit this to, instead of may be necessary, such tax information contained on a 1099 employer address? And my question about the entire tax return, if that's going to be a criminal case, why aren't you getting a subpoena to get that, or a search warrant like you would on any other criminal case?
Senator McDougal, I'm not sure on the welfare fraud side exactly what, but what I understand is they need an actual copy of the tax return. I don't know if they could get that through subpoena or not. On our side, I think it's giving us the latitude. I mean, there's payer's name, the tax ID, the recipient's ID. If they're running a business, we need the Schedule A, so it has the business expenses in it when we're calculating child support. So I think the way that it's worded, it's giving us that flexibility to work with tax on that information.
Any further questions? Senator Newman.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think my concerns are Senator McDougal's concerns, and I'm also interested in what kind of fencing around it. At Department of Tax, there's enough electronic and other fencing to make sure that this information doesn't get out, and I'm not sure if you guys will end up having that same geofencing.
Yeah, so we're required at the Department of Social Services for child support to comply with all the VETA 501, 508, section, I think it's 519, 523, as well as very stringent federal tax requirements on our systems.
Mr. Chairman, the last thing I'd say is maybe, I think I'm going to abstain on the bill, not because I'm opposed to it, but just to get it right. Maybe Senator McDougal and others can work with you to make sure we aren't giving more information than we need to for tax.
Any further questions? Any further questions? If not, ladies and gentlemen, 2339 is before you.
Move the bill be reported.
It's been moved and seconded that 2339 be reported. If you'd open the rolls, please. Report the bill.
Ayes 9, noes
The bill is reported 951. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to members.
Good morning, Chairman Jones.
Chairman, good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing, as you would say, peachy.
You were so persuasive in your absence. We took several of your bills, that 2356, which was identical to Ruff and Saslaw.
Yes, sir.
2357, which was identical to Chairman Hanger. 2360, which was identical to Senator Hanger. You were so persuasive in abstention that we've already reported those out for you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I believe I have two more before the body.
Yes, sir.
I believe it's, we could do 2354 first.
2354, if the committee would direct their attention to that bill, please.
Yes, sir. Last year, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we created the Revenue Reserve Fund, something that we'd worked on collectively, the two bodies, I believe, trying to put a hedge and working on liquidity. And what this bill will simply do is just remove the 2% cap on the revenue reserve and allow a 15% average, 15% cap for the Revenue Stabilization Fund and the Revenue Reserve Fund. That's what it simply does. And I believe currently in Chapter 2, we'll have about $1.033 billion in those two funds combined. We could probably go up to about 2.7 billion when we hit the 15%. That's just a roundabout. April might correct me, but I'm just doing it in my brain, but in my head, I should say. So straightforward, Mr. Chairman, and would simply remove the 2% cap and put a 15%.
Well, let's see.
total.
Does any member of the committee have any questions of Delegate Jones on 2354? Anyone in the audience who feels compelled to articulate their support? Anyone who feels compelled to resist it? If not, 2354 is before the committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Senator.
I would suggest 15% would be a nice problem to have, but I move that the bill report.
I would agree.
Well, we can all dream the impossible dream, I believe. It's been moved and seconded that 2354 be reported. If you'd open the roll, please, sir. Ayes 14, noes 0. The bill is reported. Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Chairman.
I tried to vote Vogel, yes, she asked to be voted yes on this, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, HB 2550, I assume you will just comport that to the Senate bill that came out, I believe, which was Senator Howell's bill, that I think we rolled Senator Saslaw's bill into, then we can put them into conference. I assume that's what we're going to do.
Right.
I expect that will happen if we want to expedite that. Senator Howell, you want to make a motion?
Yes, I move that it be conformed to Senate Bill 1651.
Okay.
Or Mr. Chairman?
Was there a second? Second. Okay, I'm sorry, Senator Howell.
I was thinking the alternative, we could just kill this bill because it's a whole lot different than Senator Howe's bill.
I think we'll conform it this morning.
But I know what would happen to my bill.
No, just joking. Just joking.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 2550 be conformed to Senator Howell's bill, which was reported from the Senate. Any discussion? If not, open the rolls. And report, I should say.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill's conformed
Thank
and
you, Mr. Chairman. I
report.
thank the committee.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate dealing with you.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Ruff, how are you?
All right.
Good.
On House Bill 1722 that we previously reported, I would ask that we can reconsider that vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, just in case you forgot, this is Delegate Bloxham's Wayfair bill. It's been moved and seconded that that bill be reconsidered. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, and the bill is reconsidered and before us. Do we want to give him the heads up? Or-
I don't think we have to because we are still
Okay.
working through it.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I was slow. We need a roll call.
Well, let's pick up the pace, John. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1722 be recorded. If you'd please note your vote. Thank you, John.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. Sometimes I get on a roll, John, and I'm moving.
Mr.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, on one of the amendments that was put on, tax had a little bit of a problem. So, Lisa, do you want to explain that?
Yes, sir. That amendment that I presented to y'all as being technical was to address a problem that the language in the bill is sort of circular, and I thought it would create a loophole, but my solution to it caused heartburn for tax. So instead of doing that on the fly, I think we should just leave that to be. And tax indicated they might be able to address the issue in their guidelines, so that's something we could discuss between now and the floor.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we eliminate that amendment.
It's been moved and seconded that the tax amendment, which previously was added to the amendment in the nature of the substitute, be removed. Is there any discussion? If not, I thought so. I just was looking at you. Okay. All right. All those in favor of removing the previous adopted tax amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, and that amendment is eliminated. Ladies and gentlemen, the amendment in the nature of the substitute is before you.
I move the report as
It's been
amended.
moved and seconded that House Bill 1722, amendment in the nature of the substitute with some of the amendments be reported. If you would make your votes known, please. Ayes 14-0, that bill is re-reported. Next in the queue is Delegate Robinson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm before you on House Bill 2234, which is parental leave. This morning, you all are familiar with this bill. Senator Studerline had a similar bill. But DHRM visited me this morning for the first time on my bill and told me that there were some things that were problematic in my bill that were okay in Senator Studerline's bill. And some of those things were, in my bill, you can have, it's for 12 weeks of parental leave, but then you would get the short-term disability if you needed it. They said that that was problematic, that it needed to be switched, which Senator Studerline's bill already takes care of, and there were a few other items. So what I would ask the committee to do would be to conform my
Okay.
bill to Senator Studerline so we can get
Okay.
them in proper order.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion properly supported to conform House Bill 2234 to previously passed Senate Bill 1581. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this is parental leave benefits. We've heard this before. Anyone here to speak for or against the bill? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Move to report.
Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2234, amendment in the nature of a substitute. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 15-0.
Ayes 15-0, the bill is reported.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next is Delegate Will. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members. You have before you House 2441, creates a non-photo ID. The committee yesterday was kind enough to send it here. I apologize for not being able to be there. I'm guessing that the reason it's here is because it was initially reported as having a physical impact. That has been eliminated, and so I'm certainly willing to go into more details of what the bill.
All right, well, let's see what we've got here. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, House Bill 2441 is in front of you, and if you were looking for the explanation on page 3 under the blue sheets, and this was re-referred to us from the Transportation Committee on a vote from 9-1. Does any member have any questions of Delegate Wilt regarding his bill?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Obenchain.
All I would say is I know about this bill. It's important to the Mennonite community for whom having photographs on their identifications is problematic.
Any further comments? Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman.
Anyone who has opposition? Senator McDougal, do you have a question, sir?
My only question is on the fee. Will it cost DMV more to change their programming to operate these? So do we have the cost right?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the DMV has worked it out with the folks that are the communities, and also I would add to Senator Obenchain's comments, it also affects the Old Order Amish community as well. They both requested this, and they've worked it out with DMV that they will fully cover the cost of implementation through the DMV. So it's cost zero to the Division of Motor Vehicles.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator McDougal.
That's really my question. Did DMV say the $10 would cover that cost?
Mr. Chairman, the fee that will be covered then will be $80. And I think DMV may be in the room.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Here, down here.
Oh,
I
I'm
know-
sorry.
I know I've lost a
I
lot
missed
of-
you, little boy.
I lost a lot of weight, and you didn't see me.
Yeah, I didn't. You're just a shadow of your former self.
So it's my understanding that this is for religious purposes, and just to clarify, the Mennonite and the Amish are not the only ones that could qualify under this. It could be any individual that claims that for religious purposes not to get their photograph put on an ID card.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it is, I feel like it's narrowly drawn, to receive the religious exemptions that the Mennonite and Amish community, they have to fill out a federal, I think it's 4029 form that gives them exemptions from like Social Security and so forth. So it's pretty strict qualifications to fall into that category. They, whoever it is would have to meet that criteria.
Any further questions or comments? All right. Anyone who wants to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone who wants to speak in opposition to the bill? Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 2441 is before the body. Been moved and seconded that House Bill 2441 be reported. Open the rolls. Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much for being with us, sir. Next is Delegate Delaney. Delegate Head. Oh, there you are. I knew I saw you. You were hiding behind the dais there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, I want you to be on your good behavior there today because from my beloved alma mater, VMI, we have a number of cadets that are in the building today, one of which is watching us as we work through the Senate Finance Committee. So
I will
have told
do my
them
best.
how articulate and extraordinary legislator you are, so don't disappoint me.
I will do my best. It will
Thank
be a
you, sir.
challenge, but we'll do our best to keep it between the ditches here. Mr. Chairman, we have for you House Bill 1639. This is a relatively simple bill that solves a rather complex problem. The problem is that if someone is currently dual eligible, part of the dual eligible population, and they are in a nursing facility, then that nursing facility is paid directly and billed for directly by they will bill DMAS for the reimbursement. If that patient then goes under hospice care, then it puts them into a unique situation because currently the hospice then must bill for all forms of care, including the residential portion of that payment. And the way we are currently structured is that because federal legislation says at least 95%, then we're seeing a discount down to 95% that we are paying to the hospice, who then needs to pass that along to the assisted living facility, and it's a reduction in payment. And in many cases, the nursing facilities aren't accepting that, and the hospices are needing to make up the difference. We're also running into a problem where in some of our managed care situations, they are submitting for reimbursement directly, and they're being denied altogether, but they're still having to pay for it. So hospices are being put into a very precarious situation because of this. And so we brought this forward last year. We're not able to get it into the budget last year. It was put into the governor's budget this year and is in the House budget as has come forward thus far. To correct this, this is just simply a Section 1 bill to codify that practice and say going forward,
Well, let me
we're
see if
gonna
I can
fix
help you. I'm
this.
always suspect of those Section 1 bills. But Senator Hanger, do you know whether or not the money is in the budget on this matter?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding that the funding necessary is included both the House and Senate budgets, so the bill should be in good shape.
All right, any member of the committee have any questions of the delegate regarding this bill? Anybody in the audience who wants to speak in favor? Anyone who wants to speak in opposition? If not, ladies and gentlemen, 1639 is before the committee. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1639 be reported. If you would open the roll, please, sir. You've done good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Do
you.
appreciate it.
Delegate Stolle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have before you House Bill 2026.
2026 requires that infants who fail their newborn screening hearing test be evaluated for cytomegalovirus. CMV affects 1 out of every 200 births, and the incidence is higher than any other currently screened newborn disease. CMV is associated with long-term neurodevelopmental disabilities, including hearing loss. Early identification and treatment can improve outcomes.
Any member of the committee have any questions? It shows Delegate Stolle that in FY20, it's about a $200,000 expense. Do you know if that's in the House budget?
Yes, sir, it is.
Senator Hanger, is it in, you know if it's?
It is not in the Senate budget, Mr. Chairman, but it's anticipated in the future. I think fees are going to cover this, so we probably should put the clause on it, and I'm sure we'll be able to work this out in conference.
Is that a motion, sir?
That's a motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the Senate Finance Contingency Clause be affixed to House Bill 2026. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, and the clause is attached. Is anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of House Bill 2026? Anyone who wants to speak in opposition? If it's been moved and seconded to be reported as amended, if you'd open the roll, please, sir. Ayes 16, no 0. The bill is reported. Thank you for waiting. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Delegate Arid, I don't see her. Delegate Delaney, I'm just going down the list. The next one is Delegate Ferris, but he has to wait till last for misbehaving. Matt?
It shouldn't take long.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here. House Bill 1816 just extends from 1 year to 3 years the ability to claim tax credit, land preservation tax credits, and after 1 year, it's going to return back to 2 years. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, these land preservation credits are often used in estate planning, and it's difficult to sometimes get the estate done and get all the planning done in one tax year. So this just it's not that often, but sometimes that happens, and this will just give some estates a little more flexibility. And
You do a lot of estate work out there on the farm.
We plan for the future, son.
Very good. Any member of the committee have any questions? Anybody in the audience who wants to speak in favor? Anyone in opposition? If not, ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 1816 is before you. It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Any discussion? If not, open the rolls, please, sir.
I believe that's the best score of the day, isn't it, Mr. Chairman?
You're batting 1,000, my friend, 1,000. Delegate Campbell. Sorry to keep you waiting, sir. What do you got? You double teaming us here?
We're working tag team operation here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2440, I'd like to refer to it as a business-friendly bill. And what it does is it sets a minimum amount of $25 for tangible personal property to be claimed. And it's very simple. That's where it is.
Any member of the committee have any questions regarding House Bill 2440? Glenn, is there something you wanted to say?
Mr. Chairman, just an issue we've been trying to solve for some time. Right now, there's no such thing as a de minimis amount when businesses have to file their personal property taxes. So every trash can, every stapler, every tape holder, all those have to be itemized and filed. It's not just the money that it costs, but also the time it takes to track down all these items and make sure they're filed. So this just puts a de minimis floor in place.
You're just out here being a champion for small business again, aren't you, sir?
Yes, sir.
I applaud you on that.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. Anybody in the audience who wants to speak in favor? Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Chris Feraldi. On behalf of the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance, we would support this legislation.
Thank you for being with us. Anyone else who's in favor? Anyone who has a opposing view? If not, ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 2440 is before the committee. It's been moved and seconded, House Bill 2440 be reported. If you'd open the rolls, please. Ayes 16, no zero. That bill is reported. You want to talk to us about 2768?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was also showing 2768. Has that been moved somewhere else?
Next up.
Do you want to take that bill up?
We'll take it now if you have time.
Okay.
This bill is the same as Senate Bill 1166, Senator Chafin's. It was three bills that I have that have been combined into one. House Bill 2768 was requested by the clerks of the court, and basically under people that they can divulge information to, they were requesting that a commissioner of accounts in making settlement of accounts filed in such a state, line 34 of the bill. And it's just basically to help the courts out with passing along information that is needed in these types of issues.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think that this is, a clarification of information that can be provided to the Commissioner of Accounts. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Anyone here to speak for or against the bill? You like it, don't you, Chip?
Mr. Chairman, I do. On behalf
Okay.
of the clerks, we requested the bill.
Okay, very good. Anyone in opposition? Okay, seeing no one, what's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2768. Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Cast your votes.
Yes, sir.
Clerk close the roll.
What? 15, ayes 15, 1 abstention.
Ayes 15, 1 abstention, someone who is a Commissioner of
Thank you,
Accounts.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's see, Delegate Collins. Okey dokey. We did that. Delegate Moorfield. Well, Delegate Edmonds has been waiting a while. Why don't we do you?
Good morning,
sir.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have some literature I'd like to hand out if that'd be okay. If it's not, I won't do it.
Well, you present so few bills that I have a feeling that this bill is in extraordinary shape, but.
You think?
Well, maybe not. Well, let's see how it goes first.
Okay,
Why don't you tell us what your bill is doing?
Fair
sir?
enough. Mr. Chairman, I do have a line amendment I'd like to offer, I guess, before we get started. It's on line 181. I think the staff has that. It would be after not to exceed, strike 2 and insert 1. And if I may, that just reduces the potential of the maximum impact from 2% to 1%.
Lisa, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, the amendment's on line 184, but
Yes.
yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
All right, is there a motion to adopt the amendment to House Bill 1634 as reported?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify of adopting the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, and the bill as amended is before us. If you would be so kind to tell us what it does, sir.
Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1634 has come to be known as the Halifax County High School Bill. Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1634 is our chance to help the underdog. Most people never thought we'd get the bill out of House Finance, and certainly never thought we'd get it out of the House as special legislation, but Mr. Chairman, here we are. Mr. Chairman, I would submit that there is rarely an opportunity we can do something so helpful here as legislators to help one county like you can do here today for Halifax County. Mr. Chairman, this bill will not pay for the entirety of a new school. It will simply be an additional tool in the toolbox to help a locality that's been hit very hard, much by our own doing here in the General Assembly, with solar farm tax exemptions. There is no expense whatsoever to the state. As you as a legislator can vote for this bill, allow our citizens to decide and wash your hands of any tax increase on your part. Mr. Chairman, there are witnesses here who have traveled this rainy morning, and I'd like to, if I could, have them.
We'd be happy to hear from them. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm Mark Linneberg, Superintendent of Schools for Halifax County. And I'd first like to thank James Edmonds for his tireless effort in support of House Bill 1634. We have faced tremendous challenges in Halifax County. We have a high school that houses 15 to 1,600 students, and the high school is falling apart. In order to build a high school through traditional funds, we would have to have a 50% tax increase at our locality. That is never going to happen. Our folks want to help us, and so we began last year by working away organically through the county. Mr. Edmonds, Board of Supervisors, School Board, Town Councils, and we all came up with a solution very organically, House Bill 1634, to tap sales tax as a part of a method to fund our high school. Our high school has 55 exterior doors, none of which are secure. Let me tell you a little bit more about our high school. We have 2 handicap toilets in the entire facility, one male and one female. The entire building, if you put it in more affluent areas, students wouldn't go to school there. We simply need your help. Everyone across the state is talking about capital funds, and we know this. If we don't have help, then the capital funding will continue to infringe on every aspect of our community for years to come, whether it's teacher pay, whether it's fire and rescue, it's going to infringe on every aspect of it. More than anything, it's going to infringe on our students themselves. We need the high school for the vitality of our entire community. Our entire community depends on the high school. We don't have a college in Halifax. We don't have a 4-year or a 2-year, but we do have our high school, and we need your help in support of House Bill 1634. Thank you.
Thank you for traveling and coming this morning, sir. We appreciate it. Yes, sir. We'd like to hear from you.
Okay. Chairmans Norman and Hanger and honorable members of the Finance Committee and our own Senator Ruff, special hello to you. My name is Dennis Witt, and I'm chairman of the Halifax County Board of Supervisors. I'm here to speak for House Bill 1634. We should probably first acknowledge that Virginia is stressed financially since sequestration, and the percent of state funding for public education has declined somewhat in recent years. This in turn has stressed localities in their ability to meet educational and basic needs of local government. In Halifax County, our average income is below $40,000. Our average house values are below $120,000. We are losing population, and these are brutally stark statistics. I think we can say safely that since the era of sequestration, rural Virginia has suffered disproportionately. Over the past 2 years, Halifax County has enacted a solar farm ordinance to support green energy. And as we speak today, we have approved 6 solar farms covering a total of 4,600 acres, the most of any one locality in Virginia, we believe, today. The caveat to solar farms was an 80% local tax exemption to energy companies based on the SCC valuation for solar farms. Rural areas were awarded a paltry 20% from this same valuation tax. In essence, we are exporting 80% of our solar wealth to somewhere else in the Commonwealth. We can show a loss of $57 million in Halifax County over the 30-year life of these solar farms. We are trying to establish a new tax base, but we're handcuffed by the Commonwealth. So Senator Norman, as a country cousin would say, this ain't right, okay? But we're going to save this conversation for another day. It does, however, weigh heavily on our request today. We're not here to ask for a handout. We're here to ask for a hand up. In Halifax County, as in other rural areas, we are land rich and income poor. This legislation we ask today does not detract from the Virginia sales tax program and does not, we believe, violate the sanctity of the Dillon Rule, nor will it be a watershed moment for local sales tax. In fact, it mirrors similar legislation enacted to assist urban areas with transportation gridlock. Halifax County suffers from school construction gridlock. This legislation is laser focused. One locality, one purpose, one time, with a 20-year sunset upon approval by the voters in a referendum. We have one high school in disrepair and inadequate for today's learning environment. We need Virginia needs green energy. Urban Virginia needs roads, and Halifax County needs a new high school. So our uniqueness, we believe, is our effort to support green energy for Virginia. We have the overwhelming support of our citizens and our merchants. We have resolutions of support from every major body in Halifax County, including the Halifax County Chamber of Commerce and the Halifax County Retail Merchants.
Uncle.
Yes, sir. Okay, Uncle, he said. All right, I'm about to finish up. We know the State Farm Bureau and the state retail merchants will oppose this, but that's not true for our locality. So we believe that these are extraordinary times and they call for extraordinary measures. We believe that the day is here and the time is right for House Bill 1634. For us, it is critical. We either grow or we decline. Without this legislation, we will continue to put Band-Aids on our schools and struggle to attract new industries. So we think it's a bipartisan effort. It passed the House with a supermajority, and there must be a good reason for that. So we ask you today, please support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is anyone, oh, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Jillian Waller. I'm a senior at Halifax County High School. Recently, as I was leaving my high school after an academic competition, I noticed bricks that had fallen onto the sidewalk at the main entrance of my school, Halifax County High School. Had I, my sister, my baby brother, or even one of our rival GW Eagles had been walking past, concussion, brain injury, or even death could have been an unfortunate result. Given the school shootings reported almost daily, I am frightened when I think about the 55 exterior doors of my school that have no alarm system or video surveillance to warn of intruders. I am inconvenienced on a daily basis by the 2 bathroom stalls near my English class that serve 150 girls. Furthermore, the moisture coming into the school from the bricks caused mold to grow in the halls and classrooms. My teachers and students experience allergy issues as soon as school starts. My cousin had to be put on homebound instruction because our building made him sick. My friend Riley had to give up earning an associate's degree because she was restricted from going on our CTE hallway because of allergens. In our shop class with the door closed, you can see outside through a crack in the wall. It is embarrassing when other schools come here to compete in sporting competitions and witness the decrepit conditions of our facilities. For example, the carpet is literally unraveling in the auditorium. You have a 50-50 chance of not sitting in a broken chair. An impaired, outdated sound system and dilapidated stage are truly embarrassing at local dance competitions, political rallies, and Cancer Society events. As a resident of a rural county in Southside Virginia, I believe I deserve equal educational facilities as those enjoyed by students in Northern Virginia, Richmond, or Virginia Beach. One of my ACE team members said that every school is better than our school. That is the honest opinion of most students at my school. As students of Halifax County High School, we are standing up for future doctors, lawyers, teachers, and many more. Our parents tell us that we can be and we can do anything we want in life, but you have to set goals. My goal here is to help the children of tomorrow see that we want them to grow and to be successful. By getting the funding to build a new high school, we will foster the creative minds of tomorrow's CEOs and business leaders. By speaking today, we are instilling hope in the future of Halifax County that we can and we will grow. Our county has put a price tag on education. I'm asking you to be the ones to see an endless value of our education. In order for us to grow, we need a successful and encouraging environment. The foundation bricks at Halifax County High School have been falling out of the wall since the early 90s. We need your help. We can no longer put a Band-Aid over the bullet hole that is our school. Thank you.
I thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate your civic engagement. You only made one mistake in there. You were talking about standing up for future doctors and lawyers. Don't stand up for the lawyers, okay? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name's Gray Watson. I'm with Centera Halifax Regional Hospital, and I'll keep my comments brief, but as the largest employer in our community, we're responsible for 1,200 families, which is a significant number. And the challenge we're having currently related with our school system, and specifically the high school, is the recruitment and retention of physicians. I've had very open and candid conversations with these physicians, and as we recruit them and they have children, high school age, when we take them to the high school, it's an immediate barrier to get them to relocate to our communities. What we've experienced the last few years is a significant outmigration of physicians that have chosen to join us, but as their children advance in their school career and they get to the high school age, they are looking for other options that we don't have, and they are taking their services. And therefore, we have to look at, do we reduce services our hospital offers, which then can impact employment and can impact impact the health and well-being of our community. So again, as the largest employer, we support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mitzi McCormick, President of the Halifax County Chamber of Commerce. We represent 360 businesses in our community and 11,000 working people. Our chamber supports this legislation. Joining us are our municipalities, our retailers, our local retail merchants association, our realtors. This comes down to economic growth and opportunity for us. We would appreciate your support today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. There's another young lady behind you.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Lisa Steib with the Virginia Education Association, and of course, we support safe learning conditions and working conditions for our educators. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Anyone who has an opposing opinion? Oh, there's someone behind you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Jody Roth on behalf of Virginia Retail Federation. We have a longstanding policy of opposing any local sales tax options. While we know this is for Halifax County only, we do view this as a Christmas tree bill, and we fear that other localities will be popping up, which will create a lack of uniformity for our members in their point of sale systems and cross-border sales competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Well, Delegate.
Mr. Chairman.
Would say, I'm sorry, Senator
You
Ruff.
thought you'd heard everything, but I think that there's another factor in there. Just in the last couple of years, Halifax County has had to absorb the cost of reconstructing a historic courthouse at the request of the judge. And so they have been stressed going into this. So I would hope that the committee would favorably look upon this, and I would so move.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is a tough one for me, not because of the issue itself, and I'm glad, and I was glad there was time taken for the proponents of this bill to speak to it, because it's something that's very common, not just in Halifax, but all across rural Virginia. We have the same situation where there's fiscal stress, fiscal disparity because of the circumstances. It's something we're going to have to address. The problem that I have is we can't create a hodgepodge in addressing one problem and then leaving others unaddressed by allowing one locality to do this. Halifax is unique. Halifax doesn't have, if my memory is right, doesn't have an independent city. You've got South Boston, which is a town, and that's where the Walmart's at, okay? All right, if you got an independent city, you got a problem because the Walmart's going to be in the independent city. The issue really is we need to do something. Sales tax, I like consumption taxes. We would need to do it at the state level so that we can take advantage of all the people that shop at Tyson's Corner and then spread it around the state. Hey, I shop at Tyson's Corner in Potomac Mills, so I help. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, it's tough for me because Delegate Edmonds is a close personal friend. We work together in the Sportsman Caucus, and he's worked so hard. It amazed me that he got this out of the House Finance Committee, but we can't just put a patch on something like this. We're going to have to address it broadly, and for that reason, I certainly cannot support it now.
Mr. Chairman, I can feel Emmett's hand in my pocket right now.
Let me tell you a little different perspective on it. The question before us right now is whether or not we're going to help Halifax County. And for a number of years, Senator Hanger has been a very strong voice of addressing these fiscally stressed areas, and we have not done it comprehensively in last year or this year. And I appreciate the comprehensiveness, but also I think to ignore the compelling arguments that this rather unique community has made. And there hadn't been a lot of emphasis. There's a referendum attached to this. And for those of you that are squeamish about tax increases, what you're doing is enabling the locality to make a determination on whether or not they want to enact an increased sales tax. And ultimately, the citizens of that community will make a determination. Those of us who will be confronted with transportation issues, took the self-initiative in Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads to impose additional taxes on ourselves. And last year, you wouldn't recall it by this name, but there was something that is now affectionately known as the Tommy tax in the historic triangle. And to some of my more fiscally conservative folks, that's not exactly an applause. But again, that was a local issue where we desperately needed resources to continue to market our historical assets. And we didn't go to a referendum. So, Delegate, I applaud you on what you're trying to do. And yeah, it may be patchwork, but it's a patchwork we need to sew up today.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hanger. Senator Sasslaw.
Yeah, don't confuse me with things are bad enough already. In Northern Virginia, we raised our sales tax as a result of the transportation bill in 2013. Our area and your area, it's 6%. If you think that's had any impact, I invite you to go over to Tyson's 1 and 2. Try to find a parking place over there. The place is swamped. And we had heard, oh, they'll go to Maryland. Sure, they'll sit in 1 hour each way to save $1 on $100. Of course, anybody with common sense would do something like that. This is absurd. We need to let if these people, and they have a referendum in here, which we didn't have, as you pointed out on our bill, they want to help ourselves, we ought to let them, we ought to let them do it.
Is that a motion to report?
That's a motion to report.
Mr. Chairman,
You already have a motion.
Okay, and I got a second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Senator Howell, yes.
I've
ma'am.
been trying to get your attention to speak.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you hear anything? Anybody hear
For
anything?
as long as I can remember, at least a decade, we've been saying we need a comprehensive policy. And we haven't got a comprehensive policy. And I don't see any probability we're going to get it in the next year or two either. But meanwhile, these high school kids, this is a big part of their life, and they need to be in a decent school. They need that. They deserve
I know,
that.
we're gonna vote against it.
I think every child in Virginia deserves that. So I certainly hope we'll pass this bill and help these kids and get on with getting our comprehensive policy.
Thank you, Senator Howell. It has been moved and seconded that House Bill 1633 be reported with the amendment. If you'd open the roll.
Ayes 9, noes 4, 1 abstention.
Ayes 9, noes 4, 1 abstention. That's the first hurdle over on this side. sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I
Thank
just
you and
want to
your-
tell you
thank
how
you
much
and-
I appreciate the committee's support.
Well, we appreciate very much the members of your community being here, particularly the young people. Thank you. sir.
We'll be the example for the rest of the state to follow, I hope. Thank you.
All right, Delegate.
No, I won't say it, Delegate Howell.
Thank you. Delegate Weaver? Okay. Good morning, Delegate Weaver.
I think half the room just left. Yes, sir.
Delegate Weaver, which bills you got here?
I have the two that are on the docket, House Bill 2733.
Okay.
And then House Bill 2811. If you like, I'll take House Bill 2733 first.
Okay.
And if I could, this is one of those pieces of legislation that comes with a story. And I believe working with my Commissioner of Revenue and supervisors, et cetera, I think we have a solution to the problem, which House Bill 2733 deals with. So we have a couple of Commissioner of Revenues across the Commonwealth. One that basically has and their interpretation of the code says that a tractor that is used to plow snow, so for instance, if a farmer contracts with VDOT, that tractor is no longer strictly agricultural use and therefore no longer falls under the tax exemption that a county can pass by ordinance. And they were stating that they were going to begin to tax that tractor at regular property rates and also go back 3 years. And depending on the tractor, that could get pretty darn expensive.
Right.
If they're old like mine, it's not too bad, but if you get a new one, they can get pretty expensive. So what we've done, and as the bill states, it's got the equipment and machinery used by, any farm tractor is defined by 46.2, so it's a very definitive definition of a tractor. It gives explicit definition. And then also in the southern end of the Commonwealth, we've got another Commonwealth's attorney Commissioner of Revenue that has deemed that a nursery, not a greenhouse, but a nursery, also falls out of that statute or out of that ordinance. And so we have equipment and machinery used by a nursery is defined by 3.2. And all this essentially came out of, again, the Commonwealth's attorney not Commonwealth's attorney, I don't know why I keep saying that, the Commissioner of Revenue that has decided that to change, that as they read the code, it's not specific enough for these pieces of equipment, so that's what that bill does.
Okay, is anyone here to speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Kyle Shreve with Virginia Agribusiness Council. We certainly support the bill and thank the patron for bringing it.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, Ben Rowe with Virginia Farm Bureau. We also support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone here in opposition to the bill? What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report the bill. That is House Bill 2733. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll.
Ayes 16, no 0.
Ayes 16, no 0. The bill is reported.
Excellent.
Thank you, Doug Weaver.
And then I've got House Bill 2811. So 2811 was requested by Fauquier County. Currently, all water pollution control equipment, such as traditional municipal wastewater treatment facilities, can be issued a tax exemption letter by the tax department after certification by the Soil and Water Control Board. Traditional discharge systems are regulated by the Soil and Water Control Board. HB 2811 is necessary because Fauquier County finds itself in a catch-22. The county is building a wastewater treatment system that's an alternative no discharge system, and those systems are regulated by Department of Health, not DEQ. So Department of Health is not authorized by code to certify water pollution equipment to the tax department. This bill does that, and does it just for localities in general, and that's why we're bringing this forward.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor or opposition to this bill?
I've got Fauquier here if you need them, but.
Okay, Faulkner's here. Also, their senator's here. What do you think, Senator Vogel? Okay. Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2811. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll.
Ayes 16, no 0.
Ayes 16, no 0. The bill is reported.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Delegate Weaver.
Appreciate
Delegate Yancey?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Before you is House Bill 2651, Sex Trafficking Prevention Fund. This bill did come out of the Senate Courts of Justice, and it's similar to Senator Obenshain's bill. It is now with a strike amendment that we added, which made it identical to the Senate bill, and that DCJS will oversee the fund. And simply put, the revenue for the fund will be from fees assessed for sex trafficking-related convictions, $100 for each misdemeanor and $500 for each felony conviction. And this will be used for funds will be used to measure for combating commercial sex trafficking. And although they could not be here today, there are people from the Commonwealth who are in support of this legislation, including the Virginia Beach Justice Initiative, which has fought diligently to combat sex trafficking in the Commonwealth.
Okay. Anyone here to speak in favor or opposition to the bill? Senator Obenshain, what do you think?
I think this is an outstanding bill.
Okay, needing amendments? None? Here, what's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2651. Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll.
I-16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you, Senator Obenchain.
What do we got left here? In the budget bill? Okay. All right. Is Delegate Aird here or someone from her office? Okay. This was on the docket. It's a fairly simple bill. Maybe we just think we will go. Let's look at House Bill 2003. It's a major business facility job tax credit, extends the sunset date. It was proposing to extend it to 2024. Based on our policy, we would probably only do that till 2022. Anyone want to offer that amendment? Or is there anything different? You got a substitute? Okay. Motion probably supported to adopt the substitute for House Bill 2003. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Lisa, if you could describe what the substitute does.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, the substitute does two things. The first is that it changes the sunset date to July 1, 2022 to reflect language in the budget that we not extend tax preferences beyond July 1, 2022 at this time. And the second change is to clarify the reporting requirements to tax, to clarify that confidential information would not be released.
Okay. All right. Anyone here speaking for or against this bill? There's a motion to report House Bill 2003, amendment in nature of a substitute. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
I-16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported. That leaves a bill in front of us, House, where is it at here? 1700? Yes, there we go. House Bill 1700, which is the House Budget Bill, which obviously we like the Senate bill better. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to conform House Bill 1700 to Senate Bill 1100, I believe is our number. Right. Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 1700 as conformed to Senate Bill 1100. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, open the roll. Somebody got Senator there. Okay. Clerk, close the roll.
I-16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported. Is that clear the docket? Having cleared the docket,